I'm going to help you here so you can get the most out of this tool. It's incredible. I can't trade without it anymore. I can't even make a single click in the market without at least checking something inside cscore.com.br. I'll start here by introducing you to the pre-market section. If you're already a user, this video will definitely be very enriching for you on your journey. If you're not a user yet, you'll be very tempted to use this system, this site, whatever you want to call it, because it offers us a range of tools to help us be profitable. In fact, to be a consistent sports trader. Starting with the pre-market section, today is Monday, so there aren't that many games to show you. At some point, I'll go back to yesterday, January 18th, to show you Sunday when there were more games and some interesting things happened, so you can get the best possible understanding. CSCORE covers more than 150 championships. These 150 championships include both leagues and cups. If you want to see the list, you can just click right here. It will show you the list of everything it covers. You can go by country and see everything you can work with using it. Right here on the side, in this sidebar, we have some filters. And you can also view it in either the classic or modern format. The odds will already appear here as soon as you open it. The league in question. Hello, Zui. How is it going live? I'm going to switch back to the classic view, which is the way most people use it. You can also filter here by time. You can filter by methodology as well, like I read 001. This here is a mathematical filter, okay? It's not an artificial intelligence filter like the one we have in the master list. You'll see that next during this video. Filter by parameter, which you have here, super favorite, favorite, and even match. Then you can look, you'll see here. Let me filter by time, because then it's easier for us to see. If you select super favorite, only the games with super favorites will show up. Based on the odds, you can see that Criciúma is a super favorite at 1.40 against Concord. Criciúma is a super favorite, and you can filter by favorites by even matches or overall. You can also filter for the favorite team playing away or at home, as well as for favorites playing at home, super favorites playing at home, or favorites playing at home or away. Today, there isn't any game priced by the market as over. And our parameter is over 2.5 and under 2.5. It's always like that. These are our over and under parameters in case you didn't know yet. So you choose whether it's an over game or an under game. For both teams to score yes, or both teams to score no. Also priced by the market. And here you can select the odds for both the home team and the away team. And you choose if it's greater than, less than, then here you have the size of the ODDS you want to set and the condition you want to apply. You can also set it between two values. Once the filter is set, let's move on to the AI filter. These here are filters from an artificial intelligence. For example, if you want to look for a game where the favorite has a great chance of scoring the first goal, you select it here. You can set it to and or. If you want a game where the underdog has a chance of conceding the first goal, run it. Set it to or and it will show up. So you'll get one or the other. Both together. For today, there aren't any. Favorite first goal. Which game is it? Let's go. Let's pick Elche and Sevilla here. If we go to the match odds analysis, the analysis is a high chance of the favorite scoring the first goal. And Elche scored 70% of the time playing at home in La Liga up until now. Right? And here there are many other types of filters you can use here. And choose what kind of filter you want. I do lay on the favorite. Price correction against the favorite. There was a game here. Trash. Worked a certain price correction, which by the way even resulted in a goal. The first goal was by Young PSV at 9 minutes. So besides the correction, they ended up catching a goal. In this case here, then here you have the favorites recovery. If you want to select it, Zabab, for example, here, didn't need to because they started winning and smashed it 7-0. Man, that's crazy. But it's a team that recovers well if they fall behind. Melody didn't need to either. Here, the Turkish team. The Turkish team is crazy, right? They're always crazy. Did they fall behind? No, they started out winning. They took a quick equalizer. They had a player sent off. And they'd already conceded a second goal. But it's also a team that recovers well when they fall behind. So there are several filters here. You can do whatever you want. Use it however you like. In the analysis, A. Basically, artificial intelligence is bringing us situations that can be favorable for any type of method we want to work with, whether it's match odds or looking for goals. Let's take Brighton and Bournemouth, for example. Goal trends of the favorite at the end of the game. the favorite puts on pressure when they're drawing or losing. So Brighton is a team that tends to score at the end. The away team, which is Bournemouth, is a team that plays poorly away from home. They're 17th in that situation, so they have a poor performance playing away. In the second tab, we have the statistics tab, which has the general button, the home button, and the away button. In the general button, we have several data points here that are important for us to get a basic idea in our pregame analysis. For example, first to score, what percentage of the time was Brighton the first to score? Overall, it was 33%. If you hover your mouse over it, it will also show you the time intervals when Brighton scored and when they conceded goals. But we're interested in Brighton playing at home. So let's check at home. They were the first to score 60% of the time. Look at that. And Bournemouth, when playing away, they were the first to score 50% of the time. And they scored goals in 90% of the away games. Brighton also scored goals in 90% of their home games. And here are the other stats. Total, average goals, number of shots, how many are on target on average. Average goals scored, average goals conceded. The first half, look, they won 40%, drew 40%, and lost 20% of the games they played at home. The second half, when they scored the most, when they conceded the most, always at home, away. We have the same data for Bournemouth, playing away from home. And overall, as I already showed you, you can see both teams' general performance, how they do both at home and away. In the third tab, we have the race to 10. You can select here by the same competition, and then it removes games. For example, the FA Cup match where Bournemouth played against Newcastle. And it only shows the league games, the Premier League. So, how did Brighton do playing at home in their last 10 games, and how did Bournemouth do playing away in their last 10 games? And up here, you can adjust it. Oh, I want Brighton overall, okay? I want Bournemouth overall, okay? Oh, now I want Brighton only as the away team. Or I want Bournemouth only as the home team. So we can get that perspective. By default, it shows Brighton as the home team and Bournemouth as the away team. Can we see the upcoming matches? We click here. Is there any match coming up soon that Brighton will play? Could it be an important match? Could it be interfering with the current game? Because they might give more importance to the next match? A Champions League match, something like that? So we can check that. Oh, it's going to be really tight. The schedule is very tight between one match and the next. But don't forget to set it in the General tab, okay? Otherwise, it will only show the next home game. Then it will take a while, so go to the General tab. So you can see exactly which is the next match. What else? You can also click here to see previous matches, see how the performance was, and then it basically jumps to the live section card. It will give us the data on how the Brighton versus West Ham match went, for example. With every previous match, we can do this. Look, I want to see the Aston Villa versus Bournemouth match. Bournemouth playing away at Aston Villa. There's a team here that's similar to Brighton. Bournemouth played against Crystal Palace. How did it go? So we can get these insights regarding previous matches, head to head. It's cool that the flags of the winners already show up here, and what the score was and the date of the match, okay? You can select here, I want only Brighton as the home team against Bournemouth, or I want only Bournemouth as the home team against Brighton, or in general. It tells you the number of wins, draws, and losses. Standings. Standard standing. We can see how is Braga doing as the home team, and how is Bournemouth doing as the home team. Each of them as the away team. Look, one of them is already one of the worst away teams. In the case of analyzing, there's a performance graph throughout the championship showing how these teams have been fluctuating in the standings, position by position, round by round. A little fair odds tab. I placed a back bet here at 1.85. Look, I placed a back bet at 1.85 on Brighton. What percentage of this goal happens more or less around here? I'm here. At 23 minutes. More or less, these odds go to 1.28, or at least they should. How much does that come out to? 1.28? 1.28, 44.53%. If I concede a goal, it goes to 3.55. How much is it at 3.55? 47.89. So we have more or less the same ratio of 3. From 3 to 1, no, from 2 to 1, 1.5 to 1, pretty much a good ratio for this entry. Of course, it doesn't account for price correction. If you've taken a correction, it will be calculated from the moment the goal was scored. Then you have to click here on the odds, which will already be corrected. You can do this same move on the lay side. So I'm going to place a lay bet on Bournemouth at 3.80. Let's go at 3.80. We place this lay bet. And here we can more or less see if a goal is conceded, if a goal is scored, where these odds will go, we'll get an idea. This is good for us to get a sense of the green and red ratio, right? To establish our hit rate. Next, we have a tab showing the way goals are scored, how Brighton scores most of their goals, how they concede, how Bournemouth scores most, and how Bournemouth concedes most. Why is this important? So we can know if the teams score from set pieces or if they concede a lot from set pieces. For example, Bournemouth has conceded 8 goals from set pieces, so it's a team that can't defend well against set pieces. If you have a team playing against them that's good at set pieces, Arsenal for example, it's a good trend to bet on corners, for instance, because you might be able to catch a goal in situations like that. A quick backtesting tab that basically gives us what would it be like if we had placed bets on these teams playing at home and away in the last 5 and 10 games. For example, if you had backed Brighton in their last 5 home games, you would have a loss of minus 131% of your stake value. But if you had done this over the last 10 games, you would have a profit of 271% of your stake value. It shows you down here the games and the odds that were available for each game. These are pre-match odds, and it's as if you were taking the bet all the way to the end of the game. If you had placed a lay bet on them in these 10 games or in the last 5 and 10 games, it also shows whether you would have been profitable or at a loss. Why is this important? This tab is important. What is it for? Oh, Louise, is it for me to make a Panther entry? No. It's so you can get an idea of whether the odds being offered for these teams have a positive expected value or not. They've been showing good value. For example, Burnham doesn't have good value. And if you look at their last games, it's true that they only won 1 playing away from home. You would be in the red if you had backed them. Now, if you had laid them, you would be in the green. You would have made a profit even with Panther. So, if you go into the game already knowing that the odds for betting against Bournemouth have been good in the long run, especially when Bournemouth is playing away, then maybe it's worth it, once you see that pattern confirmed on the field, to look for that entry, right? Next, we have the lineup analysis. This tab here is amazing. This part of CSCORE is one of the most impressive features of the tool. Within this, among many other impressive features it has, okay? Inside this square here, this rectangle, in green you see the 11 players that the CSCORE AI considers the team's best 11. All the starters already come with their rating. So the lineup comes out about 45 minutes or half an hour before, and CSCORE does the analysis and sends it to us. And besides that, it tells us who the star of the team is, who the top scorer is, the best defender, and the top assister. These are important players who may or may not be on the field, so we can draw our own conclusions about what to do or not do in this case. And in addition, it gives us the rest level of each of these players, how tired or worn out they are or not. So you see here, there are 5 Brighton players who are not considered starters and are on the bench. 4 are on the bench and 1 isn't even listed. Of course, when the players are here in the lineup, they're very close to this chart. In green, these could be players that the coach considers technically viable to be starters, or in the coach's mind, they already are. But for the AI, they don't quite have that status yet, but they're getting very close to it. It gives us the position of each player and the number of goals they've scored in the last 10 games, as well as the number of assists they've provided in the last 10 games. Why the last 10? Because we want to know how this player has been performing in recent games, and not how he performed a long time ago. That way, it won't end up distorting how good he actually is or isn't. There's also Bournemouth's lineup. Bournemouth is a bit more of a first-choice team than Brighton in this match. And there are the formations, right? So we can see how each team is lining up. Here, the formation, the average rest level of each player. 4-2-3-1. Both teams are mirrored in their formations. And the substitutes bench for each team. So hovering the mouse over it will show you the stats for those players. After that, we have here the power ranking and expected value. Power ranking is basically how much each team is producing offensively and defensively. From this, we get an overall index. Arsenal is the best. In the Premier League, City is second. This doesn't necessarily match the league standings because the teams producing more or less aren't always well positioned or not. It's not about that. It's more about what these teams are actually doing offensively and defensively. And from there, we move on to the expected value from MatchOdds. What does this tell us? With everything Brighton has produced playing at home so far in the Premier League, and with everything Bournemouth has produced playing away from home so far in the Premier League, the fair odds for this match should be 1.64 for a Brighton bet and 5.08 for a Bournemouth bet. So that means a bet on Brighton has 38 ticks of value here, even when it comes to the pre-match. If I want to place a lay bet, I'll lay Bournemouth. At this moment, it's at 4 and it should be at 5.08. The lower the lay odds, the more it pays me, so I also have a positive expected value here. The game has started, it's now live here. The tendency is to work in favor of Brighton, which would be quite interesting for this match. Obviously, you need to wait for this to be confirmed live. So basically that's it, and all of this is what the pre-match sector brings us. I hope you can make the most of this pre-match sector. I'm talking about a day that had only a few matches. If I go back to yesterday, we had a Sunday and it was a bit busier than usual. As I told you at the beginning, there are more than 150 leagues and championships. And besides that, for those who have the full plan, we also have the scores section, and then we also have the live section. So basically, what does the scores section give us? Let's use Lion, which I worked on yesterday. The 8 most likely scores are shown here. Except for 1-1 and 2-2, the rest are scores in favor of Lion. So it gives us the probability of at least one of these scores happening because it adds up all of them, right? And it gives us the expected value for this entry in case we do a Dutching, right? If we select the scores here and work all of them in favor of the team to see if any of them hit. If you don't know what Dutching is, I have a free course, a platform. I'll leave the link in the description of this video here, luisterratrader.com.br. There you'll find an explanation on how to work with Dutching. And from here, you can just click on the Dutching calculator. And it will tell you what your profit percentage is if you cover these 8 score lines. I usually look for something around 37%. Here it's 35%, almost 36%. So I would take this entry. Just like I did, the game ended. 2-1, it was the third most likely score, so you can use this tab to do Dutching. And here's a big detail that a lot of people don't know. If you change the feedback to lay, you can use it to do, for example, lay 1-0 as well. Oh, what was the lay odd? 1-0? I don't know, 11. It gives you a fair odd here for this lay. 1-0, which it already tells you what it was, 10.57. It will tell you that the odd doesn't have expected value, positive, but if it were 9, it would already be 1.65. Then the decision to do it or not is yours because these are mathematical implications. Then there's the issue of lineups and so on, which you also have to analyze to decide whether to make this kind of bet or not. Lay 1.0, lay 0.1, lay 1.1, lay 2.2. Whatever score you want to work with, everything is here. Right? Goals. You can also find out the fair odd. Type in the odd. Oh, 1.5, I don't know, it was 1.40. It will tell you if there's positive expected value or not. The EV of the back, and you can also see the EV of the under. Besides that, you can check the standings just like in the other section. Home team, away team, performance chart, how these teams have been performing over time in the competition. And after this section, my dear, the section you have for all the games here as well, we go to the live section. Right now, I have some games going on. And in this section, it gives us some indicators, which are interesting indicators that can help us on our journey. For example, in this game here, Young Ajax against Roda in the Dutch second division. Here, a little before the goal, it said over moment between the 32nd and 34th minutes. And at the 33rd minute, a goal was scored, and at the 35th, another one. Interesting, right? Very interesting. Here there was also an over moment, and right after, a goal was scored. Here, possible. First, the favorite scored a goal, then it indicated an under moment. The game is really, really lively, okay? So it keeps giving us indications in addition to presenting the data. Important for live betting, for us, everything here. The team's race, the live odds for each of them. The current live odds are the reference odds, which are taken from Bet365. That's the one we use as our reference point. If you click to see more odds, you'll also find the odds as they were at the start of the game for over and under. There are no more odds for Alville because the number of goals for over and under has already been surpassed. But here, for example, for Eibar, for Granada and Eibar, there are still odds available. These are our over and under reference points, as I mentioned earlier in the score section. And here, all the important statistics like ball possession, dangerous attacks, big chances, total shots, and so on. on target shots, corners, and expected goals. Based on what Trash has created so far and what PSV has created so far, how many goals should each of them have scored? Look here at John Gagex, 0.89, John Gagex, 2.08 for Rhoda. It's hitting 1-1-2. Here, of course, it's not matching anymore. Obviously, it's not going to match, otherwise it would be a crystal ball. How do you view statistics just for the first half, just for the second half, and for the last 10 minutes? In the last 10 minutes, you can see here that Trash is doing much better. They're going after the equalizer. So you can do all of this here in the live section as well. You can also see finished games. Oh, a game. Yeah, that's right. I want to know how that game went. You can check it out. You can see which games are coming up next. You can see them all. You can favorite some here and return to the live section. If I search there yesterday and come back here, put it in the finished games, I'll have all the games from yesterday against Barcelona. Barcelona applied too much pressure. This game is absurd. Sociedad beat Barcelona. Only football can make you do things like this. And then what? He finished? No, Luis. No, Luis, it's not over yet. We have the master list. The master list is something impressive. Inside the master list for now, you'll have 3 methods. And these methods suggest the games where we can or cannot use these methods. It's not just for you to copy this here and do it. The Panther. Is the Panther giving results? The Lay 1, 001, the Zebra is. The Lay, the Zebra is also working. The back on the favorite so far isn't. But it might be that at some point it will work too. But the point here is this. The point is for you to work in your own way with the games that are given to us. For example, the Lia 001 nailed it yesterday. Everything it sent, it got right. The Leia Zebra did too. There wasn't any back on the favorite. So yesterday, on Sunday, it was a perfect day. I can't go back to Saturday, which was also a perfect day because you can only see one day back, but it was also a perfect day. All the Lia 001 entries hit. Panther, because we put here that Panther hit. But you can choose to work with closing, close at 60, 70, 80, close the range in the way you work. This isn't meant for you to just embrace it, simply copy and paste. If you want to do that, go ahead, but it's at your own risk. As I always say, past results do not guarantee future results. But the fact is, this thing is working really well. So this is our master list. You only have access to this if you purchase the full plan. The master list is a bonus for CSCORE users who purchase the full plan. It's that simple. So basically, I've just presented the entire CSCORE to you. I hope this video is of great value on your journey and that you can make the most out of this tool. And that, in fact, truly, just as it helps me and thousands, not just hundreds, but thousands of traders around the world, I can't work without it anymore. And it brought an incredible improvement to my trading. I hope it brings an incredible improvement to your trading as well. Thanks, a big hug, and see you in the next video.